This barn is very outdated, especially when you compare it to all the other stuff that I've been building over the last year and a half, so it's finally time to tear it down and replace it with something better. What's up guys, my name is CamoDude2187, and in this video I'll be replacing this 3-year-old oak wood barn with a new stables. As you can probably see, this barn is very basic, with pretty much no decoration on the inside, made completely out of untextured oak wood, and the only texturing I did do was block vomit all over the floor, all of which I can definitely improve on for this new stables. To start this process, I moved all the animals out of the barn into the nearby pasture and set up a haste beacon before tearing down the entire barn. Alright, I've finished taking down the barn, which has filled up nearly 4 full shulker boxes with junk, and I've also used stone blocks to make the outline for where the new stables is going to go. I want this building to be pretty much the same shape as the old barn, just with a more interesting block palette, so I started out with a frame of stripped spruce logs, a coarse dirt floor, and walls made out of stone. Once the main structure of the first floor was completed, I moved on to making a floor for the attic space and adding some more detail for the pillars. And this was probably the most expensive part of the whole build because of how many trapdoors it needed, but it does look a lot better than just using slabs. I also added in 2 small staircases at either end of the stables for easy access to the attic space. To make the roof of the stables, I first used spruce wood to outline the shape of the roof, capped off the ends with oak wood as a tribute to the old barn, and then built the roof itself using cobbled deep slate. Now that the roof is on, the stables is starting to look really good, and is still giving off the same general vibe as the old barn. I've also made the addition of 2 small towers on top of the roof, and you might have noticed that I've also been leaving small holes in the floor of the attic using oak trapdoors, and there is a very good reason for this. In case you didn't know this, horses in real life are very gassy, and since this stables is going to have horses in it, I obviously needed to put in some way for the horse farts to escape. It's Minecraft, just go with it. Anyway, it looks pretty cool, and since the main structure of the stables is now complete, I can move on to finishing the stalls on the inside and doing all the texturing on the outside. And now that all the texturing is done, the stables is starting to look a lot more complete. Before I make the interior, I want to move outside to do some more work on the area around the stables, starting with connecting it back up to the paths and doing some detail work to finish off this field next to the building. Alright, the field is now complete and both of the paths have been put back in. I've also replaced all of the tuff on the roof with polished blackstone to make it look less messy, and on the other side of the stables I've done some work to clean up the coastline and put in a small paddock for the horses. Next, I wanted to show how the horses' food would be stored, so I put 2 small cranes at either end of the attic and built a large wagon filled with hay bales. How this would work is all the hay would be hoisted up with the cranes and stored up here in the attic space, and whenever the horses needed more food it could be dropped through this hole to the first floor and moved into the stalls from there. Once I had finished putting in all these details, I had to take a quick trip out to my Enderman farm to repair my elytras before I could start working on the interior. And now the stables has a full interior, including in the attic, and I've also moved a bunch of different horses into the stalls. All I need to do now is build a couple custom trees and finish detailing the paddock, and this project will be finished. And with that, the entire stables is finished. We went from a very basic, incredibly boring oak wood barn to a fully detailed stables that fits the vibe of this area very well, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. Something else cool that's happened recently is that I've passed 100 subscribers. To celebrate, I'll be making a brand new World Tour video, so stay tuned if you want to see that, because a lot has changed since my first World Tour series. For now though, I have a lot of shulker boxes to clean out, so thank you so much for watching. Please leave a like if you enjoyed this video, subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.